Have you ever wondered what secrets ancient treasures could reveal if they could speak? Welcome to Unearthed Secrets, where we uncover the hidden stories of history. Please hit subscribe, like the video, and tell us where you're watching from and what time it is there. Now let's step softly into the mysteries of our first artifact, the Ebers Papyrus. Have you ever wondered what it might have been like to live in the heart of ancient Egypt thousands of years ago, when the Nile's slow, winding flow dictated the rhythm of life, and the golden sun stretched across the desert in endless warmth? Imagine a world where medicine and magic were intertwined, where the line between illness and curse, between healing and prayer, was delicately, almost imperceptibly drawn. It was in such a world that the Ebers Papyrus came to life, a scroll that has traveled through millennia to whisper its secrets to us now, quietly, patiently, as if the winds of time themselves had carried it across sands and centuries. The Ebers Papyrus, a medical text unlike any other, stretches nearly 20 meters in length, carefully unrolled, revealing the careful hand of a scribe who lived long before the age of science as we know it. Its surface, brittle with age but resilient in spirit, is filled with a dense tapestry of hieroglyphs, each line a step into the mind of an ancient healer. As you imagine these characters, etched onto the papyrus, you might picture them forming a secret language, one that describes the subtle ways the human body can suffer and recover, the ways that nature itself offers remedies, and the careful observations of a civilization that revered the mystery of life itself. In ancient Egypt, healing was never a simple act. A sickness could be both physical and spiritual, a fever as likely to be caused by an imbalance of the humors in the body as by the displeasure of a god. And yet, there was method in their medicine, a remarkable precision that emerges as you trace the papyrus with your mind. Remedies are listed alongside spells, a harmony between tangible treatment and mystical protection. Consider for a moment a patient who suffers from a cough. The Ebers Papyrus might suggest a mixture of honey, herbs, and a pinch of salt, all blended to soothe the throat, while also recommending an incantation to call upon the gods of healing. It is both practical and poetic, a testament to the human desire to understand the unknown and bring comfort where it is most needed. As we drift deeper into the scroll, you notice that the remedies are not arbitrary. The papyrus speaks of the digestive system, of the heart, of the womb, and the maladies that could afflict each part. Ancient Egyptian healers observed closely, documenting symptoms and outcomes with astonishing care. They spoke of the pulse, the color of the eyes, the patterns of pain, all of which guided the healer's hand. Herbs like juniper, myrrh, and willow make their appearance in the text, offering insight into the knowledge of plants and their effects. In your mind, you can almost see these ancient gardens, fragrant with the aroma of leaves and bark, the sun warm upon the stone courtyards where healers prepared their poultices and ointments. One cannot help but feel a sense of reverence for the scribes who preserved this knowledge. Writing on papyrus was not a casual task. The scrolls were delicate, requiring precision and care. Ink carefully mixed from soot, water, and resin, applied with reed brushes that traced hieroglyphs with elegance. Imagine the scribe's hands, steady and patient, as he recorded cures for ailments, observations of the human body, and the whispers of gods who might aid in the recovery of the sick. Each line is a bridge between the tangible and the unseen, between life and the mystery that surrounds it. The Ebers Papyrus is more than a collection of treatments. It is a lens into the worldview of a civilization that saw life as a sacred journey, one where balance and harmony were essential. Diseases were not merely misfortunes, they were signals, messages from the body and the world, reminders to tread gently, to respect the rhythms of nature, to seek equilibrium. In this way, reading the papyrus feels less like perusing a medical manual and more like listening to a whispered story, one that invites you to slow down, to observe, and to honor the delicate interplay of body, mind, and spirit. One of the most striking aspects of the papyrus is its holistic approach. It describes not only the physical treatments but also the importance of diet, hygiene, and spiritual well-being. Patients are advised to maintain cleanliness, to avoid certain foods, and to take care in their daily habits. There is an awareness here, a subtle understanding of cause and effect, of prevention as a path to longevity. In your imagination, you can picture an ancient household, the aroma of freshly baked bread mingling with incense, a healer consulting the scroll before preparing a remedy, all with a quiet patience that mirrors the slow flow of the Nile itself. The scroll also speaks of the power of observation. Healers were keenly attuned to the signs of disease, noting patterns in the body that might escape the untrained eye. Skin eruptions, feverish cheeks, coughing fits, and the pulse at the wrist were all recorded and interpreted. There is a poetry in this precision, a careful dance between empirical observation and the mysteries of life. In reading the papyrus, you feel the steady hand of a healer, the quiet diligence, the care taken to understand not only the symptom but the person who bears it. As you trace the text further, the remedies themselves become vivid in your imagination. Oils infused with herbs are applied to aching limbs. Mixtures of honey, natron, and fragrant resins are prepared to soothe wounds. Purgatives and poultices are crafted with meticulous care, each ingredient chosen for its known effect on the body. Some remedies seem familiar, echoes of treatments still recognized today, while others feel exotic, strange, and tantalizingly mysterious. You can almost feel the texture of the past, the slight stickiness of honey, the roughness of dried herbs, the warm steam rising from a freshly prepared infusion. The Ebers Papyrus also reveals the Egyptians' sophisticated understanding of the human body. While some knowledge is interwoven with spiritual belief, other sections display an astonishing empirical clarity. The papyrus describes the heart as the seat of blood and life, the channels through which fluids travel, and the importance of these flows for health and vitality. The connections they made between diet, environment, and wellness demonstrate a depth of observation that resonates even in our modern understanding of medicine. It is as though the scroll itself is a quiet guide, encouraging us to listen, to observe, and to respect the wisdom of careful attention. There is also a sense of narrative woven throughout the papyrus. It speaks of patients and their journeys, of illnesses that ebb and flow, and of the hope that careful attention and skillful intervention can restore balance. In reading these lines, you can almost hear the soft murmur of a healer's voice, gentle and reassuring, as they prepare a patient for treatment. The act of healing becomes a ritual, a calm, deliberate practice that honors both the body and the spirit. The scroll even contains hints of psychological understanding. Certain remedies are prescribed not only for the body, but for emotional states, recognizing the interconnectedness of mind and health. It is a quiet acknowledgement that well-being is multifaceted, that the state of one's spirit can influence the body's response to illness. Imagine, then, an ancient home, the subtle fragrance of herbs filling the air, a healer speaking soothing words while preparing a treatment, the patient slowly breathing in the calm and care surrounding them. As the Ebers Papyrus unfolds in your imagination, it reveals the Egyptians' reverence for life itself. They approached illness with humility and respect, acknowledging the limits of their knowledge while seeking to alleviate suffering in every way possible. Remedies are offered alongside prayers, treatments paired with spells, each carefully considered. It is a world where science and spirituality coexist, each complementing the other in the service of human health. The scroll also provides insight into the daily life of ancient Egyptians. Beyond remedies, it speaks of diet, bathing practices, and hygiene, reflecting a civilization deeply attuned to the rhythms of nature and the importance of balance. Patients were advised to consume certain foods, to avoid others, and to take care in their physical activities. In imagining these details, you can feel the slow rhythm of life along the Nile, the gentle lapping of water, the soft rustle of reeds, and the warm glow of sunlight on stone walls. Even more remarkable is the preservation of the papyrus itself. Surviving thousands of years in a harsh desert climate, it stands as a testament to the durability of human knowledge and the care with which it was recorded. The texture of the papyrus, fragile yet enduring, reminds us that the past is always present, waiting patiently for us to uncover its stories, to trace its lines, and to absorb the quiet wisdom it offers. In contemplating the remedies described, one can appreciate the Egyptians' understanding of natural substances. Plants, minerals, and animal products were all used with careful intention, each chosen for its perceived effect on the body. Some of these remedies have parallels in modern medicine, while others remain mysterious, their efficacy still a subject of fascination. You can almost see the herbs drying in the sun, the powdered roots sifted through fine cloth, the oils mixed with precision, each step performed with patience and care. The spiritual dimension of healing in the Ebers Papyrus is equally compelling. Illness was often seen as a manifestation of imbalance, sometimes caused by unseen forces, and remedies frequently included prayers and protective spells. There is a poetry in this intertwining of the tangible and the intangible, a recognition that health encompasses more than the physical body. In your mind, you can hear the soft chant of a healer, the rhythm of words intended to restore harmony, the quiet confidence that accompanies a careful, practiced hand. As you imagine the lives of those who use the papyrus, you see a world both foreign and familiar. Patients, like ourselves, faced pain, uncertainty, and hope. Healers, dedicated and observant, offered guidance, remedies, and comfort. The Ebers Papyrus becomes more than a document. It is a bridge across time, connecting us to the thoughts, practices, and humanity of a people long gone. The scroll also reveals a subtle sophistication in the organization of knowledge. Symptoms are catalogued, remedies carefully described, and outcomes noted. There is a methodical logic, a deliberate attention to detail that mirrors modern medical practice. It is as though each line of the papyrus is a quiet conversation between generations, a shared commitment to understanding the human condition and offering care wherever possible. One can also sense the care with which treatments were prepared. Mixtures of herbs, oils, and resins were combined in precise proportions, reflecting a deep understanding of dosage and preparation. Poultices, infusions, and balms were crafted with attention to texture, temperature, and application, each step performed with patience. In imagining this, you can almost see the gentle hands at work, the subtle fragrance of plants filling the air, and the quiet satisfaction of a remedy prepared with skill and intention. The Ebers Papyrus also offers glimpses into the social and cultural fabric of ancient Egypt. Healers held a respected position, their knowledge sought by rulers and commoners alike. Their craft was intertwined with daily life, and their wisdom passed carefully from teacher to student. In this way, the papyrus serves as both a medical text and a historical document, a window into a civilization that valued knowledge, observation, and the thoughtful care of others. As you continue to imagine the scroll, the details of ancient Egyptian life unfold around you. The warm sunlight on mud brick houses, the gentle rustle of papyrus reeds by the riverbank, the distant sound of oars dipping into the Nile, all create a backdrop for the quiet, meticulous practice of healing. Patients arrive with ailments both minor and severe, seeking not only relief but reassurance, comfort, and understanding. The healer consults the papyrus, selecting remedies with care, and administers treatment with patience and precision. The combination of practical medicine and spiritual guidance is particularly striking. The Egyptians understood that healing is not purely physical. By addressing the emotional and spiritual dimensions of illness, they sought to restore balance and harmony in every aspect of a person's life. In your mind, you can picture a patient lying quietly, the soft scent of herbs in the air, the gentle sound of a healer's voice, offering both instruction and comfort, a calm atmosphere designed to support recovery. Even the most ordinary remedies are imbued with a quiet significance. Honey, used for its soothing properties, becomes a symbol of care. Herbs, carefully chosen, represent the attentive observation of nature, and the very act of preparing a mixture reflects patience, knowledge, and dedication. The Ebers Papyrus teaches us that healing is as much an art as it is a science, a subtle balance between skill, observation, and compassion. Time seems to slow as you read further, the weight of centuries pressing gently against your consciousness. Each line of hieroglyphs is a whisper from the past, a story of human experience, suffering, and care. It is easy to imagine the soft rustle of papyrus, the quiet murmur of a healer reciting words, the gentle touch of hands administering remedies, all part of a timeless rhythm of care and observation. The text also shows an awareness of individual variability. Different patients might require different treatments, even for similar symptoms. There is a recognition that healing is not one size fits all, a subtle insight into human physiology and temperament that feels remarkably modern. In your imagination, you can see the healer considering each case carefully, consulting the papyrus, and choosing the path that best suits the individual, a deliberate and thoughtful approach to care. Beyond the medical content, the Ebers Papyrus offers a meditation on the passage of time and the continuity of human curiosity. Its survival reminds us that knowledge, carefully recorded, can endure across millennia. The scroll carries with it the voices of those who lived long ago, inviting us to listen, to observe, and to learn. It is a gentle reminder that human ingenuity and care can transcend the constraints of mortality, leaving traces of wisdom for generations to come. As you visualize the remedies, the daily routines, and the careful observations recorded within the scroll, you might notice a sense of calm, a quiet rhythm to the way the ancient Egyptians approached life. Illness was met with patience, with careful observation, and with remedies crafted with skill and intention. The Ebers Papyrus becomes not only a guide to ancient medicine, but a reflection of a worldview in which balance, attention, and respect for life were paramount. In imagining the papyrus being used, you can picture a small chamber, the walls adorned with faint murals, the soft glow of sunlight filtering through a narrow window. The healer consults the scroll, selecting herbs from neatly arranged baskets, grinding roots with a stone mortar, mixing oils and resins with a gentle hand. The patient sits quietly, observing the process, feeling the calm presence of knowledge and care surrounding them. There is a sense of ritual in these acts, a deliberate pace that mirrors the natural rhythms of life along the Nile. Treatments are prepared slowly, administered with care, and accompanied by words of reassurance and prayer. The air is fragrant with herbs and resins, the atmosphere suffused with the quiet diligence of those who seek to understand and alleviate suffering. Even in the description of complex ailments, there is clarity and precision. The Ebers Papyrus details symptoms, suggests remedies, and offers guidance on administration. It is a practical document, yet it carries a quiet elegance, a sense of reverence for the human body and the mysteries of health. In your mind, you can hear the soft turning of papyrus, the gentle murmur of a healer speaking instructions, the calm, rhythmic preparation of remedies designed to restore balance. The scroll's prescriptions reflect both knowledge and intuition, Certain herbs are recommended for specific ailments, while other treatments are broader in their application. There is a nuanced understanding of the interactions between substances, an early awareness of dosage, and a careful attention to the effects of remedies on different individuals. This subtle sophistication speaks to a tradition of careful observation and shared wisdom, a practice honed over generations. And as the words of the papyrus continue to unfold in your mind, you feel the presence of those who recorded and preserved its contents. The scribes, patient and meticulous, the healers, observant and thoughtful, and the patients, trusting and hopeful, all contribute to a tapestry of human experience that stretches across time. It is a quiet, gentle reminder of the continuity of care, the persistence of knowledge, and the enduring human desire to heal, comfort, and understand. The Ebers Papyrus also offers insight into the broader Egyptian society. It reflects a civilization deeply attuned to observation, careful record-keeping, and the thoughtful application of knowledge. The role of the healer was both practical and spiritual, a position of respect and responsibility. In imagining this society, you can see the interwoven threads of family, community, and tradition, all connected by a shared commitment to health, balance, and understanding. As the scroll stretches endlessly in your imagination, line after line, remedy after remedy, you begin to sense the depth of knowledge it contains. Each section reveals careful thought, careful observation, and a quiet reverence for life. Illness is acknowledged without panic, remedies are prescribed with patience, and the spiritual dimension of healing is gently honored. It is a world where knowledge, observation, and care exist in harmony, a world that continues to whisper across the centuries. In this quiet reflection, the Ebers Papyrus becomes more than a medical document. It is a bridge to the past, a guide to the human experience, and a meditation on care, observation, and the enduring mysteries of life. It reminds us that even in the most distant times, people sought to understand, to alleviate suffering, and to honor the delicate balance of body, mind, and spirit. As you drift further into the scroll's stories, remedies, and observations, the world of ancient Egypt unfolds around you in a soft, continuous rhythm. The flow of the Nile, the warm sunlight, the rustle of papyrus reeds, the gentle preparation of remedies, and the quiet attentiveness of healers all combine to create a timeless tableau of life, care, and the persistent quest for understanding. The Ebers Papyrus, in its fragile, enduring form, stands as a testament to human curiosity, patience, and care. Its lines, etched thousands of years ago, continue to speak, offering wisdom, perspective, and a quiet invitation to reflect, to observe, and to honor the delicate balance of health, life, and the mysteries that connect us all. As you close your eyes and let the words of the scroll drift gently through your mind, imagine the soft crackle of papyrus, the subtle scent of herbs, the careful hands of a healer, and the calm, patient observation of a civilization that revered life in all its forms. Let the ancient wisdom of the Ebers Papyrus guide you into a deep, restful sleep, where curiosity, wonder, and calm intertwine, carrying you gently through the timeless rhythms of health, care, and human understanding. The Hymns of Enheduanna. Have you ever paused to wonder what it might have been like to live in the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, in a world where the rivers carried life and the winds whispered stories of gods and kings? Imagine the city of its mud brick streets warm beneath the sun, the air fragrant with the scent of incense and freshly baked bread. Among the bustling markets and the gentle murmur of everyday life, there existed a remarkable figure, a woman whose words would echo across millennia. Her name was Enheduanna, a high priestess of extraordinary insight and devotion, and the hymns she composed remain the oldest known literary works attributed to a named author in human history. As we enter the world of Enheduanna, it is easy to feel the pulse of a civilization alive with both ritual and wonder. Her hymns were not mere poetry, they were prayers, songs, and reflections woven together with a careful attention to the rhythm of life, the patterns of the heavens, and the invisible presence of the divine. Imagine her, moving through the grand temples, the clay walls glowing in the sunlight, the ziggurats towering above, and the soft murmur of priests and devotees surrounding her. Every word she spoke or wrote carried weight, a careful blend of reverence, emotion, and observation. The hymns themselves speak to us across time. They are dedicated to deities both familiar and mysterious, invoking the presence of Inanna, the goddess of love, war, and political power, whose essence Enheduanna sought to capture through verse. In her poetry, the goddess comes alive not as a distant figure, but as an active force, influencing kings and cities, bringing blessings and trials alike. The hymns are both intimate and grand, personal prayers intertwined with the destiny of empires, a reflection of a mind attuned to both the human and divine. As we trace the lines of her compositions, one can imagine the deliberate care with which she worked. Writing on clay tablets with a stylus, she pressed wedge-shaped cuneiform marks into the soft surface, each character a bridge between thought and permanence. The tactile rhythm of this process, pressing, pausing, and observing, may have mirrored the contemplative cadence of her mind. Every tablet was a meditation, every stroke a step into understanding the delicate balance between devotion and art, between spirituality and human expression. Enheduanna's hymns often celebrate the city of itself, portraying it not merely as a collection of buildings but as a sacred landscape, a place where the divine intersects with the mortal. The temples rise not only as architectural marvels but as living centers of devotion, where incense smoke curls upward and the voices of worshippers blend into a soft, harmonious murmur. The hymns invite us to see the world through her eyes, to feel the warmth of the sun on mud brick, the soft coolness of evening shadows, and the gentle flow of the Euphrates nourishing life all around. In her writings, Enheduanna does more than describe. She inhabits the feelings of those who come before the goddess, who seek protection, guidance, and understanding. Her words capture joy, fear, devotion, and longing. One can sense a quiet empathy, a recognition of the human heart in all its complexity. The hymns speak to kings and commoners alike, reflecting the intricate interplay between governance, divine favor, and the everyday lives of citizens. The poetry also demonstrates a remarkable understanding of structure and rhythm. Lines repeat and echo, creating a cadence that is both lyrical and meditative. There is a subtle awareness of musicality, suggesting that these hymns were likely performed aloud, their tones rising and falling with the careful gestures of the priestess leading her congregation. You might imagine the soft resonance of her voice in the temple halls, carrying over the hum of activity, guiding listeners into a shared space of reflection and reverence. Enheduanna's role as high priestess was deeply intertwined with her literary work. She was not only a writer, but a spiritual leader, mediator between the gods and the people, a figure whose presence could shape both ritual and politics. Her hymns were part of her practice, an extension of her devotion, and a tool for inspiring cohesion, reflection, and reverence. In reading them, one can almost feel the dual weight and grace of her position, the careful balance she maintained between devotion, leadership, and creative expression. Her writings also reveal a profound connection to history and memory. She references events, rulers, and the cycles of nature, embedding her personal reflections within the broader tapestry of Mesopotamian life. The hymns become a window not only into her mind but into the world around her, capturing the ebb and flow of rivers, the changing of seasons, the growth and harvest of crops, and the rituals that marked life's milestones. Each line carries a dual function: to honor the divine and to preserve the lived experience of a civilization. As you imagine the creation of these hymns, picture the soft clay beneath Enheduanna's fingers, the gentle scratch of stylus upon tablet, the quiet presence of acolytes and assistants in the temple. The atmosphere is serene yet purposeful, a balance of concentration and devotion. She recites each line, adjusts phrasing, considers rhythm and meaning, shaping her work with both technical skill and heartfelt inspiration. The process itself becomes a meditation, an act of spiritual alignment as much as literary creation. Her hymns often depict a dialogue between the mortal and divine. She addresses Enhedu directly, invoking the goddess's attention and favor, praising her power and beauty, and seeking guidance. These lines are intimate yet formal, blending personal supplication with structured ritual. Imagine the temple's walls echoing with the cadence of her voice, the attentive silence of the congregation, and the way words become a bridge between earthly life and the mysteries above. In many hymns, Enheduanna acknowledges the complexities of human experience. She speaks of struggle, conflict, and the challenges of leadership and life, weaving these themes into her praise and devotion. There is no denial of difficulty. Rather, the hymns embrace it, recognizing that joy and sorrow, fortune and hardship, are part of the natural and divine order. This perspective offers a quiet reassurance, a sense that the world, with all its complexities, is ultimately connected and guided by forces that can be understood through reflection, ritual, and expression. Her writings also reflect a deep awareness of community. She does not write solely for herself, but for the people she serves, for those who seek solace, guidance, and inspiration. Her hymns were likely recited during festivals, rituals, and gatherings, their words fostering unity, shared understanding, and a connection to something greater than the individual. In imagining these moments, one can hear the soft rhythm of chanting, the gentle sway of participants, and the quiet energy of collective reverence. The imagery in her hymns is vivid and symbolic. She describes temples as mountains, rivers as veins of life, and divine presence as both sheltering and powerful. These metaphors allow readers and listeners to engage with abstract concepts in tangible ways, to see the divine in everyday life, and to feel a sense of wonder at the interconnectedness of existence. The poetic language invites reflection, drawing attention to the nuances of emotion, devotion, and experience. Enheduanna's hymns also demonstrate her mastery of language. Cuneiform, while precise, is flexible, and she uses it to craft expressions of remarkable elegance. Her choice of words, rhythm, and repetition creates a meditative flow, one that can calm the mind, invite introspection, and gently carry the listener or reader into a state of contemplation. It is this careful construction that allows her work to endure, not only as historical record, but as living literature. Throughout the hymns, one can detect a profound respect for the forces that shape life. Enheduanna writes with awareness of cycles, from the ebb and flow of the Euphrates, to the rise and fall of rulers, from the turning of seasons to the shifting fortunes of communities. There is a subtle understanding of balance, of interdependence, and of the delicate harmony between human endeavor and divine will. In this way, the hymns serve as both spiritual guide and philosophical reflection, offering insight into a worldview that honors both action and contemplation. In visualizing the use of these hymns, picture the temples filled with soft light filtering through narrow windows, the scent of incense curling upward, and the gentle murmur of voices repeating her lines. The experience is immersive, enveloping participants in a space where time feels slower, attention is focused, and the connection between human and divine is tangible. Every gesture, every word, and every pause is part of an intricate dance of devotion and reflection. Her works also reveal an enduring sense of purpose. Enheduanna wrote, knowing that her words would outlast her physical presence, that they could guide future generations in worship, reflection, and understanding. There is a quiet immortality in her craft, a resonance that allows us today to experience the thoughts, feelings, and observations of someone who lived more than 4,000 years ago. The hymns become a bridge across time, inviting us to enter her mind, to walk the streets of Ur, and to witness the world as she perceived it. The texts also offer glimpses of the social and political environment of her time. They reference kings, priests, and cities, hinting at the complexities of power, diplomacy, and community life. Yet even in these references, the focus remains on spiritual insight and literary expression. Enheduanna's perspective blends observation with devotion, creating a tapestry that is as much about human experience as it is about divine interaction. The hymns further highlight her unique position as a woman in a society where spiritual and political authority were closely intertwined. As high priestess, she held considerable influence, and her writings reflect both her personal voice and her official role. There is a subtle confidence in her lines, a recognition of her place within a larger framework, and a dedication to using her gifts to serve both the gods and her community. In reading the hymns, one can almost hear the careful pacing, the rise and fall of phrasing, the gentle rhythm of cuneiform stylus against clay. Each tablet becomes a living object, each line a current carrying thought and devotion across time. The words invite us to slow down, to consider the complexity of human experience, and to marvel at the ability of a single person to create something enduring and transformative. Enheduanna's works also remind us of the intimate relationship between language and spirituality. Her poetry demonstrates how words can shape perception, evoke emotion, and create connection. In her hands, language becomes more than communication. It becomes a vessel for devotion, reflection, and memory. Through her hymns, we sense the subtle interplay between thought, expression, and belief that defines so much of human creativity. As we continue to imagine the world of Enheduanna, the city of Ur, the temples, the flowing rivers, and the devoted congregations, we begin to understand why her hymns have survived. They are not merely historical artifacts. They are living expressions of curiosity, insight, and devotion. They invite reflection on the human condition, on the search for understanding, and on the enduring desire to connect with something greater than oneself. The hymns are also remarkable for their universality. Despite the millennia that separate us from Enheduanna's time, her words resonate with contemporary readers. Themes of devotion, longing, joy, struggle, and reflection transcend culture and era, reminding us of the shared aspects of human experience. In this way, her poetry continues to offer both solace and inspiration, a quiet testament to the power of literature to endure and connect. In imagining the composition and use of the hymns, one can picture the quiet, meditative hours spent at the temple, the sun's light shifting across clay walls, and the deliberate, reverent act of pressing cuneiform into soft tablets. Each stroke carries intention, each word carries meaning, and each performance carries the possibility of transformation, both for the audience and for the writer herself. Enheduanna's hymns are ultimately a celebration of life, devotion, and expression. They capture the essence of her civilization, the interplay between human endeavor and divine influence, and the remarkable ability of a single person to leave an enduring mark on history. In listening to or reading her words, we are transported to a world both distant and familiar, a world that continues to speak, inspire, and soothe. As you close your eyes and allow the imagery of ancient Ur, the flowing Euphrates, and the gentle rhythm of Enheduanna's voice to settle in your mind, imagine the soft glow of lamps, the scent of incense, and the careful press of stylus against clay. Let the hymns guide you into a state of calm reflection, a deep awareness of continuity, connection, and the enduring beauty of human creativity. Allow the wisdom, devotion, and insight embedded in her words to flow gently through your consciousness, carrying you into a peaceful, restful state where time feels expansive, gentle, and full of quiet wonder. Cleopatra's Needle, the silent witness of Egypt. Have you ever stood before a monument that has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the gentle flow of rivers, and the passage of centuries, and wondered what stories it could tell if it could speak? Imagine the heart of ancient Egypt, where the Nile flows steadily through the land, carrying life and history in its waters. Amid this world of sun-baked earth, bustling towns, and sacred temples, there rose an obelisk, a towering shaft of stone, carved from red granite with meticulous precision, standing as a silent testament to human ingenuity, devotion, and ambition. This is Cleopatra's Needle, a relic of an era long past, now far from its original home in Heliopolis, yet still whispering the secrets of ancient Egypt. Picture the city of Heliopolis as it might have been thousands of years ago. The morning sun gilds the limestone temples, their high columns catching the first rays, while priests in flowing robes move through the sacred courtyards, their sandals clicking softly against the stone. The air is heavy with the scent of incense and the gentle murmur of prayers. In the midst of this sacred space stands the obelisk, its polished surface glinting faintly, the carved hieroglyphs telling tales of kings, gods, and the eternal rhythm of life along the Nile. Imagine the artisans who quarried this granite from Aswan, their hands steady, their minds focused on crafting something that would endure millennia. Each stroke of the chisel is deliberate, each line a message intended to bridge the mortal and the divine. The obelisk is not merely a block of stone, it is a story frozen in granite, a record of reverence and ambition. The hieroglyphs speak of pharaohs, their accomplishments, and their devotion to the gods. They describe offerings, victories, and the eternal cycle of the sun, a constant reminder of the power and presence of Ra, the sun god, in the lives of all who dwell along the Nile. As you trace the carvings with your mind's eye, you can almost feel the rhythm of life in the city, the markets alive with color and movement, children playing along the riverbanks, boats gliding silently through the morning mist, and the temple rituals unfolding with a quiet, solemn grace. Imagine the obelisk as it stood through centuries, observing the ebb and flow of history. It witnessed pharaohs rise to power and kingdoms fall into the dust. It watched as the priests maintained their sacred rites, their chants mingling with the rush of the river. Time passed, yet the obelisk remained steadfast, a silent sentinel in a world of change, carrying with it the stories of those who shaped the destiny of Egypt. It saw the construction of temples, the gathering of harvests, the celebrations of festivals, and the quiet moments of reflection when ordinary people gazed up at its towering presence and felt the awe of something greater than themselves. As centuries rolled on, the obelisk's life extended beyond the boundaries of Egypt. It became a witness to new rulers, foreign conquerors, and shifting civilizations, yet it maintained its dignity and presence, a reminder of the ingenuity and devotion of a civilization that valued permanence, order, and the connection between the mortal and divine. Imagine the silent conversations it might have held with passing travelers, scribes, and rulers who paused to admire its craftsmanship, each one adding their own chapter to the story embedded within the stone. Fast forward to the modern era, and imagine the monumental effort required to move this ancient giant across the seas. For centuries, it remained in Egypt, yet human curiosity and ambition reached far beyond the horizon. Ships were readied, ropes and pulleys tested, and every detail meticulously planned to transport the obelisk from its sacred home to the banks of the Thames in London. Visualize the journey. The obelisk carefully lowered onto a specially constructed vessel, the waves lapping gently against its sides, the sea carrying it away from the land where it had silently stood for millennia. The voyage itself was an adventure, a testament to human determination. Storms would have tested the endurance of both ship and cargo, the obelisk rocking slightly with the motion of the waves yet remaining resolute, as if understanding that it had traveled through time and would now travel through space. The people guiding its passage must have marveled at the enormity of their task, their minds filled with a mixture of reverence, awe, and trepidation. Imagine the quiet nights at sea, the moonlight reflecting on the water, the obelisk resting peacefully on the deck, a sleeping giant of history carried gently across the waters, moving closer to a new home far from its birthplace. When the obelisk finally reached London, it was not merely an artifact transported, but a piece of living history placed in a foreign landscape. It came to rest along the embankment of the Thames, standing tall against the backdrop of a bustling city, a silent witness to a different rhythm of life. The river now carried the reflection of London's spires and bridges, while the obelisk remained a link to the Nile, to ancient rituals, and to a civilization whose influence still echoes in the monuments, stories, and cultural memory of humanity. The story of Cleopatra's Needle also invites contemplation of the artisans who created it. The precision required to quarry granite, shape the stone, and carve the hieroglyphs is staggering, Even by modern standards, each hieroglyph is both art and communication, a symbol that carries meaning across thousands of years. Imagine the sculptors at work, their hands steady, their eyes trained on the lines that would endure beyond their lifetimes. They may have felt a sense of permanence, a quiet pride in knowing that their work would speak to generations far removed from their own time, that the world would one day gaze upon their craftsmanship in awe and reflection. As you consider the obelisk, picture the slow march of the sun across its face, the shadows tracing the contours of the hieroglyphs, and the play of light that would have changed subtly through the hours and seasons. Each day, the stone absorbed the warmth of the sun, cooled with the evening breeze, and reflected the changing sky. The Nile mirrored its image in the waters, a silent companion to the obelisk's stoic presence. This quiet rhythm of the natural world intertwined seamlessly with the human efforts to honor the divine and mark the passage of time. Through the centuries, Cleopatra's Needle has been more than an object of curiosity. It is a symbol of endurance, a reminder that human aspiration can reach across time and space. It invites us to slow down, to imagine the lives of those who shaped history, and to appreciate the subtle interplay of art, devotion, and perseverance. In its presence, one can feel the weight of centuries, the silent echo of prayers, and the quiet dignity of a civilization that understood the importance of leaving a mark on the world. Consider, too, the gentle intimacy of its carvings. Each line and symbol was created to convey meaning and to resonate with those who gazed upon it. The obelisk tells stories of kings and gods, of rituals and offerings, yet it also speaks to the observer's own sense of wonder. By tracing its inscriptions in your mind, you enter a dialogue with the past, connecting your thoughts to those of people who lived thousands of years ago. This connection, though quiet, is profound, a subtle current that links human experience across time. The obelisk also invites reflection on the flow of time itself. From its creation in Heliopolis to its journey across the sea and its resting place in London, it embodies the passage of eras, the continuity of human curiosity, and the enduring presence of art and devotion. Each glance at its towering form encourages meditation on permanence and change, on what endures and what fades, and on the delicate balance between human ambition and the forces of nature. Imagine standing near Cleopatra's Needle today, feeling the gentle breeze of the Thames on your skin, the muted sounds of the city around you, and the quiet majesty of the obelisk before you. Close your eyes and picture the sun of ancient Egypt glinting off its polished surface, the priests moving silently through the temple courtyards, and the river Nile flowing steadily by. In this moment, past and present merge, and you are transported across both geography and time, connected to the human stories that have shaped the stone, its inscriptions, and the world it has observed. In contemplating this monument, one can also sense a peaceful patience. The obelisk has endured storms, relocations, and the endless passage of human life. It stands as a quiet reminder that some things are meant to last, that beauty, craftsmanship, and devotion can create echoes that persist far beyond the lives of those who create them. In its silent presence, one can feel a sense of calm, a reassurance that even as time moves inexorably forward, some threads remain intact, weaving together past, present, and future. As your mind drifts along the story of Cleopatra's Needle, allow yourself to imagine the gentle play of light on its surface, the soft reflections in the Thames, and the distant murmur of ancient prayers carried across centuries. Let the solidity of the stone, the intricacy of the inscriptions, and the quiet majesty of its presence guide you into a state of calm reflection. Each imagined detail, each flicker of sunlight, each whisper of wind, each ripple of water serves as a gentle anchor, drawing you deeper into stillness and tranquility. The obelisk is also a reminder of human imagination and ingenuity. Consider the effort, skill, and planning required to quarry, carve, transport, and erect a monument of such size and precision. The vision of those ancient builders, their dedication to craft, and their reverence for the divine are palpable, even millennia later. It is a testament to what can be achieved with patience, focus, and devotion, and it quietly inspires those who encounter it to reflect on their own potential for creativity and endurance. Even as Cleopatra's Needle rests in a city far from its origin, it retains a sense of connection to its birthplace. Its inscriptions speak of ancient Egypt, of temples, gods, and the Nile. They carry the essence of a civilization that understood the passage of time, the importance of ritual, and the human desire to create something lasting. In its presence, one can feel the bridge between continents, eras, and cultures, a silent continuity that reminds us of the shared threads of human experience. As you imagine the obelisk standing tall, allow yourself to trace its journey through time. From Heliopolis to London, from ancient priests to modern observers, it has witnessed the unfolding of countless lives, events, and stories. The stone absorbs all of this quietly, without haste, without judgment, carrying the weight of history in graceful silence. This enduring presence offers a sense of stability, a reminder that some things persist, quietly holding space and memory through the ages. In this quiet contemplation, notice the intricate artistry of the hieroglyphs. Each symbol is precise, deliberate, and rich with meaning. They are not merely decorative, but communicative. A language that tells stories of divine presence, human endeavor, and cosmic order. Allow yourself to imagine the hands of the carvers, their focused attention, the careful shaping of each line, and the sense of purpose that guided their work. This quiet dedication echoes across the centuries, connecting the present to a past filled with reverence and intention. As the sun sets along the Thames and the city settles into a gentle rhythm, let the presence of Cleopatra's Needle guide your mind into stillness. Visualize the monument bathed in the soft glow of evening light, the reflections in the water shifting slowly, and the quiet sounds of the city blending with the imagined whispers of ancient Egypt. In this space, past and present coexist, and you are invited to rest within the continuity of history, art, and human devotion. The obelisk reminds us that time is both fleeting and enduring. Human lives pass quickly, cities rise and fall, yet some creations withstand the currents of history, offering silent testimony to the skill, devotion, and imagination of those who came before. In the quiet presence of Cleopatra's Needle, one can feel both the vastness of time and the intimacy of individual effort, the grandeur of civilizations, and the subtle impact of singular acts of devotion and artistry. Imagine finally the gentle calm of the night, the city lights reflecting softly on the river, the obelisk standing tall, its inscriptions faintly illuminated, and the sense of continuity it embodies. Let your mind linger on the story of its creation, its journey, and its enduring presence. Allow the echoes of ancient Egypt, the rhythm of the Nile, and the whispers of generations to carry you into a state of deep relaxation and peaceful reflection. Let the monument's silent wisdom guide you into calm, steady breathing, gentle awareness, and restful stillness, knowing that in this quiet space, past and present meet, and time flows gently, like the eternal waters of the Nile. The Black Pyramid of Amenemhet II, Egypt's forgotten monument. Have you ever wandered through a land where the sands themselves seem to hold secrets older than time, where the wind whispers through ancient stone and every shadow hints at the stories of kings long gone? Imagine the vast expanses of the Egyptian desert, stretching endlessly under a sun that burns with steady brilliance by day and casts a soft silvery glow by night. Amid this timeless landscape lies a monument that has long been overshadowed by its more famous neighbors, a structure that carries within it the echoes of ambition, ingenuity, and mystery. This is the Black Pyramid of Amenemhet II, a creation of the Middle Kingdom, standing quietly as a testament to an era of remarkable architectural and cultural achievement. Picture yourself approaching the pyramid. The desert sand shifts gently underfoot, carrying with it the faint scent of stone and earth warmed by the sun. The horizon stretches endlessly, and in the distance, the pyramid rises subtly, its dark limestone blocks absorbing the sunlight, giving it a hue that seems almost otherworldly. Unlike the gleaming pyramids of the Old Kingdom, its exterior was never meant to shine brilliantly, yet its understated presence commands a quiet reverence. This pyramid, less celebrated, invites contemplation, a slower and more reflective engagement with history and human endeavor. As you draw nearer, notice the scale and geometry of the pyramid. Its sides ascend with careful precision, the angles subtly commanding attention, and the lines of construction suggesting both ambition and restraint. The builders of the Middle Kingdom sought not only to honor a pharaoh, but to innovate within the traditions of their ancestors. The Black Pyramid represents this careful balance, an intersection of continuity and change, of reverence for what came before, and aspiration toward new methods and meanings. Consider the people who worked tirelessly to bring this monument into existence. Craftsmen, laborers, and architects all contributed their skill, knowledge, and dedication. Imagine their hands shaping stone, their eyes tracing each line and angle, their minds focused on ensuring that every block, every chamber, and every corridor would fulfill its purpose. For them, this pyramid was more than a tomb. It was a sacred space, a bridge between the mortal and the eternal, a vessel through which the pharaoh's essence might endure beyond life. The Black Pyramid is particularly notable for its unusual construction. Unlike the more familiar pyramids of the Old Kingdom, its core was built using a combination of mud brick and limestone, with internal corridors and chambers designed in intricate configurations. Imagine the planning that went into this structure, the careful calculations, and the architectural foresight required to ensure stability and longevity. Each passageway, each chamber was crafted with intention, a reflection of both practical engineering and spiritual consideration. Step inside the pyramid, and the air seems to change. The warmth of the desert gives way to the cooler, muted silence of the interior chambers. The walls, though simple compared to later decorative embellishments, carry an aura of solemnity and purpose. These spaces were not merely functional, they were designed to honor the journey of the pharaoh's soul, to provide a sacred environment for reflection, ritual, and eternal rest. Picture the chambers dimly lit by torches, shadows dancing across the walls, and the faint echo of footsteps reverberating in a space built to last for eternity. The corridors themselves tell a story of ambition and adaptation. Unlike earlier pyramids, which often relied on massive stone blocks throughout, the Middle Kingdom architects experimented with new materials and internal structures. Imagine the laborers carefully layering mud brick and limestone, their movements precise, their coordination seamless, as they balance the weight and alignment of each segment. This innovative approach reflects both practical necessity and creative problem-solving, an example of human ingenuity responding to the challenges of scale, weight, and durability. As you wander further, imagine the rituals that may have taken place here long ago. Priests and attendants, moving quietly through the halls, reciting prayers and offerings, guiding the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife. The air would have been scented with oils and incense, the sound of soft chanting filling the chambers. The pyramid was not merely a monument to power, but a sacred vessel, a structure designed to maintain harmony between the earthly realm and the divine, to ensure that Amenemhat II's presence would persist long after the sands of time had shifted. Visualize the pyramid in the context of the surrounding landscape. The desert stretches endlessly, punctuated by distant dunes, rocky outcrops, and the faint shimmer of the Nile beyond the horizon. In this setting, the Black Pyramid rises quietly, its dark hue contrasting with the sunlit sands and the brilliant blue sky. It is at once part of the natural landscape and a distinctly human creation, a reminder of civilization's ability to leave a lasting mark on the world while still blending harmoniously with its environment. The pyramid also reflects the cultural and religious priorities of the Middle Kingdom. The internal chambers, passageways, and layout were designed with both symbolism and functionality in mind. Each element, from the orientation of corridors to the positioning of chambers, was intended to guide the pharaoh's journey through life, death, and the afterlife. Imagine the architects and priests collaborating, discussing celestial alignments, sacred geometry, and ritual considerations, ensuring that every stone and angle aligned with the spiritual and cultural values of the time. As centuries passed, the Black Pyramid witnessed changes in dynasties, shifts in power, and the passage of countless individuals whose lives brushed against its shadow. It stood resilient through sandstorms, the rising and setting sun, and the inevitable erosion of time. The monument's endurance is a quiet testament to the skill, vision, and dedication of those who built it, and to the enduring human desire to create something lasting, meaningful, and transcendent. Even today, one can imagine standing before the pyramid at dawn. The first light of morning spills over the horizon, casting a soft glow on the dark stone, revealing textures and contours that hint at the labor and care poured into its construction. The desert is quiet, save for the whisper of wind and the distant cry of birds. In this serene moment, the Black Pyramid feels alive, not merely as stone and mortar, but as a witness to history, a repository of stories, aspirations, and devotion. Consider the broader legacy of Amenemhat II, whose reign is reflected within the pyramid's walls. The Middle Kingdom was a period of consolidation, cultural flourishing, and architectural experimentation. The pyramid embodies these qualities, serving as both a personal monument to the pharaoh and a representation of the values, knowledge, and priorities of the time. By imagining the king's perspective, one can sense the combination of ambition, reverence, and foresight that guided the creation of such a lasting structure. The Black Pyramid also invites reflection on the passage of human experience. Builders, priests, kings, and travelers all contributed in some way to its enduring presence. Imagine the small gestures, the careful planning, the whispered prayers, the meticulous work of countless hands. Each act, no matter how minor, contributed to a creation that would survive millennia, connecting the efforts of ancient individuals to the present moment. It is a subtle reminder that human endeavors, when guided by purpose and care, can transcend the limits of time and circumstance. Picture the pyramid under the night sky. The stars stretch endlessly overhead, each one a distant sun illuminating the vastness of the cosmos. The desert is quiet, the air cool and still. The Black Pyramid stands solemnly, absorbing the moonlight, casting long shadows across the sands. Imagine the constellations reflected in the stone, the rhythm of the universe mirrored subtly in its angles and alignments. In this silent contemplative moment, the pyramid serves as a bridge between earth and sky, past and present, mortality and eternity. As your mind moves through the story of the pyramid, consider the subtle intricacies of its construction. The careful layering of stone, the alignment of passageways, and the precise measurements reflect both practical skill and a deep understanding of space, gravity, and form. The architects of the Middle Kingdom were pioneers, innovators working within the traditions of their predecessors while also exploring new possibilities. Each stone embodies their knowledge, effort, and vision, offering a quiet lesson in patience, precision, and creativity. The pyramid also teaches us about resilience. Over the millennia, it has endured the harshness of the desert, human neglect, and the slow erosion of time. Its survival is a testament to the combination of material choice, design, and care taken during construction. As you imagine the pyramid's endurance, feel a sense of calm and continuity, a gentle reminder that well-conceived creations, whether physical or metaphorical, can withstand the challenges of time and change. In the quiet of contemplation, imagine the moments of stillness that the Black Pyramid has witnessed. Travelers passing by, observing its form, archaeologists meticulously documenting its structure, desert winds whispering against its surfaces, the changing light of sun and moon casting shifting patterns on its walls. Each moment, though transient, contributes to the living story of the monument, a narrative woven through centuries, cultures, and generations. Finally, picture yourself seated in the soft desert sand, gazing at the pyramid as the day fades into evening. The warmth of the sun diminishes, replaced by a gentle coolness. Shadows stretch and recede, and the world feels both expansive and intimate. The Black Pyramid stands silently, a reminder of human ambition, ingenuity, and devotion. Its presence encourages reflection, quiet thought, and a sense of connection to the vast continuum of history. As your mind drifts further, allow the imagery of the pyramid, the desert, and the sky to guide you into stillness. The gentle rhythm of thought slows, like the soft sway of sand under a desert breeze. The solidity of the pyramid, the care in its construction, and its endurance through time offer reassurance and tranquility. Let the story carry you into a calm, peaceful state, where the vastness of history blends seamlessly with the intimacy of your own awareness, and the quiet majesty of the Black Pyramid of Amenemhat II becomes a gentle companion in rest and reflection. The Laocoön Group, the silent struggle of Troy. Have you ever paused to imagine a moment frozen in time, where motion, emotion, and history converge into a single, eternal scene? Picture the ancient city of Troy, its sun-warmed streets winding through bustling markets, its high walls casting shadows over the people going about their lives, and the faint sound of waves lapping against the shores nearby. In this city, stories were not merely told, they were lived, and myths were as real to those who inhabited the world as the stones under their feet. Among these stories, one scene stands out with extraordinary intensity, capturing a moment of both heroism and tragedy. This is the scene depicted by the Laocoön Group, a marble sculpture that has fascinated observers for centuries, portraying the Trojan priest Laocoön and his sons as they struggle against the coils of deadly sea serpents, their expressions and forms forever captured in stone. Imagine for a moment the priest Laocoön himself. He is a figure of both strength and vulnerability, his body taut with effort, muscles straining as he confronts an enemy of terrifying power. His sons cling to him, their small hands reaching, struggling, seeking protection and comfort, yet caught within the same inexorable threat. Every line of their bodies, every twist and turn, every expression etched into the marble tells a story of fear, desperation, and courage. The sculptor, whose hands carved with both precision and passion, captured not merely the physical struggle but the profound emotional resonance of the moment, freezing a story that once existed in the fluidity of myth into enduring form. As you study the sculpture in your mind's eye, imagine the serpents themselves. Their sinuous forms twist and coil, their scales rendered with painstaking detail, their heads striking with an uncanny lifelike quality. They embody both the natural and the supernatural, a manifestation of divine will and the uncontrollable forces of fate. These creatures are not merely antagonists, they are symbols of challenge, chaos, and the unpredictable nature of existence. The struggle between Laocoön, his sons, and the serpents becomes a metaphor not only for human suffering, but for the courage required to confront forces beyond one's control. Picture the city of Troy as it may have been when the myth unfolded. The air is warm with the sun, carrying the mingled scents of salt water, herbs, and baked bread. Citizens go about their daily lives, unaware of the calamity that is about to unfold, yet connected to it through shared stories, prayers, and the reverence for gods whose influence is both protective and capricious. Laocoön, as a priest, embodies the tension between duty and human vulnerability. He warns his people, seeks to act with wisdom, yet is caught in the inevitability of fate, illustrating a timeless lesson about the balance of knowledge, courage, and the uncontrollable forces of the world. Imagine the sculptor's workshop, long ago, where this scene was first conceived and brought to life. Marble dust floats gently in the air, the sunlight streaming through narrow windows, illuminating the precise chisel marks on the stone. The artist studies sketches, considers proportions, and imagines how the viewer's eye will travel across the composition. Each muscle, each anguished expression, each twist of the serpent's bodies is meticulously planned to evoke both empathy and awe. The sculptor seeks to bridge time, space, and emotion, creating a narrative in 3 dimensions that speaks to both the intellect and the heart. Visualize the dynamic tension of the composition. Laocoön's torso twists, his head thrown back in a mixture of pain and defiance. His sons mirror his struggle, each responding to the serpent's grip in unique ways, one in terror, another in a stoic attempt to resist. The contrast of sizes, gestures, and expressions creates a rhythm that draws the observer's eye in a gentle yet compelling motion, leading them from one detail to the next, from the tension of a clenched fist to the subtle arch of a strained neck. In this way, the sculpture becomes not just a depiction of a story, but an experience, inviting contemplation, empathy, and quiet reflection. Now imagine the play of light on the marble surface. Sunlight streaming through a museum window, or flickering torchlight in an imagined ancient temple casts subtle shadows across the forms. The polished stone catches highlights on taut muscles and smooth skin, while the serpent's sinuous curves create deep recesses of shadow, adding depth and drama. This interplay of light and form breathes life into stone, allowing the scene to pulse with an almost imperceptible motion, as if time itself has slowed to honor the narrative captured within the sculpture. Consider the emotional resonance of the piece. Laocoön's struggle is not merely physical, it is moral, spiritual, and psychological. He embodies the universal human experience of facing overwhelming odds, of standing in the path of destiny, while striving to protect those we love. His sons' responses, fear, courage, and trust, mirror the spectrum of human emotion, making the scene timeless in its relatability. The sculpture becomes a mirror for our own experiences, a reminder of resilience, vulnerability, and the quiet strength found even in the midst of struggle. As centuries pass, imagine the journey of the Laocoön Group. Buried, lost, rediscovered, and revered, it survives not just as an artifact but as a vessel of storytelling across generations. Each observer brings their own understanding, cultural context, and emotional lens, engaging with the sculpture in new ways. In imagining these centuries of observation, you can sense the quiet dialogue between past and present, the enduring power of art to communicate across time, and the subtle ways in which human creativity and myth intertwine. Visualize the serpents again, their movement frozen yet fluid, a paradox of motion captured in stillness. Each coil and twist is precise, designed to convey tension, threat, and inevitability. The serpent's eyes, if you can imagine them, carry an intelligence and malice that heightens the drama. In their silent aggression, they become symbols of the challenges and uncertainties that humans face throughout history, the forces that test courage, patience, and moral resolve. Now, imagine approaching the sculpture in a quiet, reverent space. The observer's steps are gentle, the air still, the mind attuned to the narrative unfolding in marble. Every detail invites attention. The strain in Laocoön's muscles, the delicate tension in the sun's fingers, the serpent's winding forms. The observer feels a sense of immersion, as if stepping into the scene itself, and experiences a subtle, calming rhythm as the eye travels from one detail to the next, tracing the silent struggle in thoughtful contemplation. Think of the sculptor's intent: to evoke empathy, to communicate a story, and to immortalize human emotion. This intent is timeless, bridging thousands of years. The Laocoön Group does not merely depict a myth, it creates a space for reflection on human experience, for quiet meditation on the interplay of fate, courage, and familial bonds. In this way, it becomes not just an artifact but a companion for the mind, guiding reflection, imagination, and even relaxation. Consider the myth itself in its broader context. Laocoön, as a priest, warned the Trojans against the Greek deception of the wooden horse, a story of foresight, courage, and tragic consequence. The sculpture encapsulates that moment of divine retribution and human vulnerability, reminding us that wisdom and action are often tested by forces beyond control. In contemplating this, allow your mind to drift gently, exploring the themes of courage, consequence, and the delicate balance of human effort and fate. Imagine, too, the tactile qualities of the sculpture, the smoothness of the marble, the depth of the carved muscles, the subtle curvature of the serpent's coils. Though we may not touch it, the mind can sense texture, the contrast between hard stone and the illusion of supple flesh, the careful craftsmanship that communicates life through cold, enduring material. This imagined touch enhances the immersive experience, drawing the observer deeper into contemplation and quiet mental engagement. Picture a calm, quiet room where the sculpture resides. Perhaps the soft hum of visitors moves gently in the background. Or perhaps it is a solitary moment, the mind focused entirely on the forms, the expressions, and the narrative. Each glance, each imagined detail, encourages slow, mindful observation, a meditation on tension, struggle, and the quiet beauty of human creativity. Consider the flowing lines of the serpents once more. Each curve is deliberate, leading the eye in a gentle motion across the composition, creating rhythm and harmony amid chaos. The tension between motion and stillness is subtle yet profound, drawing the mind into a relaxed awareness of both conflict and resolution, of challenge and enduring beauty. This rhythm can be mirrored in one's own breathing, a slow inhalation, a gentle exhalation, harmonizing with the visual flow of the sculpture. Now imagine the historical journey of the Laocoön Group. Rediscovered during the Renaissance, it captured the imagination of artists, scholars, and observers who marveled at its realism and emotional power. Each generation interprets it anew, layering their understanding onto the original narrative. This ongoing dialogue enhances the sculpture's resonance, inviting contemplation of both the eternal and the ephemeral, the past and the present. The piece also inspires reflection on human mortality and resilience. Laocoön and his sons face forces beyond their control, yet their struggle is meaningful, deliberate, and filled with presence. The sculpture encourages recognition of our own challenges, reminding us that courage, love, and effort retain significance even in the face of overwhelming odds. The calm, deliberate observation of this eternal struggle provides a gentle space for quiet reflection, empathy, and understanding. As the story continues to unfold in the mind's eye, imagine the subtle interplay of light and shadow on the sculpture's forms. Sunlight or torchlight accentuates tension in muscles, highlights expressions of fear and determination, and creates soft, moving shadows across the serpent's sinuous coils. This quiet interplay enhances the immersive experience, guiding the observer's mind gently, encouraging stillness, calm awareness, and peaceful contemplation. Finally, picture the Laocoön Group as a companion for rest and reflection. Its forms, stories, and emotional resonance create a space for quiet meditation, a gentle immersion in history, mythology, and human creativity. The silent struggle of Troy, captured in marble, becomes a timeless guide, inviting the mind to slow, to breathe, and to rest. The eternal story of Laocoön and his sons offers both depth and tranquility, a quiet reminder of courage, vulnerability, and the enduring power of art to connect us across centuries. The Book of Kells, Celtic Whispers in Illuminated. Have you ever held in your mind the image of a manuscript so exquisite that it seems to hum with quiet life, that every page carries both the weight of centuries and the delicate touch of a human hand steeped in devotion? Imagine the soft glow of candlelight in a quiet monastery, the gentle rustle of vellum under careful fingers, and the faint scent of ink and animal skin that has been preserved across a millennium. This is the world of the Book of Kells, a masterpiece of Celtic illumination, a collection of the four Gospels brought to life through artistry, devotion, and an unyielding reverence for both word and spirit. Picture the early 9th century, when the winds swept across the islands of Ireland, carrying with them both the chill of the North Atlantic and the quiet promise of contemplation within monastic walls. Imagine the monks, robed in simple garments, moving through stone corridors, their footsteps echoing softly against the worn floors, their minds focused on the meticulous work of transcribing and illuminating sacred text. Each letter they inscribed was more than a mark on a page. It was a meditation, a prayer, and a link between the divine and the mortal, a connection that stretched across time, culture, and human experience. As you picture these monks at work, consider the tools in their hands: quills sharpened to precision, inks mixed from minerals and plants, and the delicate pages of vellum, prepared with painstaking care. Each page was a canvas for devotion, a space where artistry and faith intertwined. Imagine dipping the quill into ink, the scratch of the nib against the smooth surface, the flow of carefully formed letters, and intricate designs that would later reveal themselves as spirals, interlaced patterns, and vibrant depictions of animals and mythical creatures. These images are not merely decorative, they carry symbolic meaning, a layered language of beauty, contemplation, and spiritual reflection. The Book of Kells is remarkable not only for its artistry, but also for the intensity of human patience and attention it embodies. Each illumination took hours, days, and even weeks to complete. Imagine the quiet concentration required to draw a single knot, to fill a space with color that seems to glow from within, to maintain symmetry and harmony across a page. The process was meditative, almost ritualistic, allowing the monks to enter a state of deep focus where the act of creation itself became a form of prayer. Visualize the manuscript as it slowly took shape over time. The colors, reds, blues, greens, gold, are vivid, chosen, and applied with a care that suggests reverence for the message as much as for the medium. Each hue, each stroke, carries intention, a mindfulness that transcends centuries. The patterns twist and curl in ways that seem alive, leading the eye gently across the page, inviting contemplation, and offering a rhythm that is soothing, steady, and immersive. In this quiet artistry, one can almost feel the pulse of the monastery, the slow, deliberate cadence of work, reflection, and devotion. Imagine turning a page, feeling the slight resistance of vellum under your fingertips, and observing the transformation of letters into art. A simple word becomes a composition of light, shadow, line, and color. Animals, birds, and mythical beasts emerge from the margins, their forms both playful and profound. Each illustration is a meditation in miniature, an invitation to pause, to observe, to reflect on both the beauty of creation and the depth of human thought that brought it into being. Now consider the historical context of the Book of Kells. The early medieval period in Ireland was a time of learning, faith, and cultural synthesis. Monasteries were not only spiritual centers but also hubs of knowledge, art, and community. The monks who created the Book of Kells were heirs to a long tradition of manuscript illumination, yet they pushed the boundaries of artistic expression, blending native Celtic motifs with Christian symbolism. This synthesis created a work that is both deeply rooted in its time and astonishingly timeless, capable of inspiring awe in anyone who encounters it today. As you imagine the journey of the Book of Kells, picture it surviving centuries of change, from Viking raids to periods of political unrest, each page a fragile yet resilient testament to human devotion. It endured in the care of generations, who understood its sacred and cultural significance. Each turn of the page in its long history is a gentle echo of the lives that interacted with it, the prayers whispered over its text, the quiet admiration for its artistry, and the steady hand that preserved it through the ages. Think of the intricate details that make the Book of Kells so mesmerizing. Tiny spirals nestle within larger motifs. Minuscule dots add texture and depth, and colors interact in a way that seems to shimmer, even in dim light. The letters themselves are alive, their forms echoing the rhythm and cadence of the words they convey. Imagine tracing these designs with your eyes, allowing your mind to follow the curves, loops, and interlaces, feeling a slow, meditative rhythm take hold, drawing you into a gentle state of contemplation. Visualize the scenes depicted within the manuscript. The Gospels unfold not only through text but also through imagery that brings the stories to life in symbolic and imaginative ways. Angels, animals, and abstract motifs guide the reader's eye, offering layers of meaning that invite reflection on faith, morality, and the mysteries of existence. Each illustration serves as both a window into the past and a mirror for the present, allowing the observer to engage with centuries of spiritual thought in a deeply personal and calming manner. Now picture the quiet room where the manuscript rests today. Light filters softly through the windows, reflecting gently off the glass case that protects the delicate pages. The air is still, punctuated only by the occasional rustle of a visitor's movement or the soft tap of a pen in a distant study. In this serene environment, the Book of Kells radiates calm authority, inviting those who gaze upon it to slow their thoughts, to breathe, and to immerse themselves in its intricate beauty. The manuscript becomes a companion for quiet reflection, its pages guiding the mind gently toward stillness and repose. Imagine the journey of the monks as they worked by candlelight. Each evening, the flickering flame cast soft shadows across the vellum, the gold and colors catching the light in subtle, mesmerizing ways. The air carries the faint aroma of beeswax, ink, and parchment, the quiet rhythm of their work, the scratch of quills, the blending of pigments, the careful attention to symmetry, creates an almost meditative soundscape. One can imagine their thoughts focusing not only on the text itself but on the spiritual significance of their labor, each page an offering of devotion and care. Consider the careful planning that went into each page. Margins, spacing, and alignment were all meticulously measured. The interplay of text and illustration was deliberate, guiding the eye in a dance that is both dynamic and harmonious. Every knotwork pattern, every symbolic creature, and every illuminated initial is part of a greater composition, a tapestry of visual and spiritual meaning. Allow your mind to trace these patterns slowly, appreciating the rhythm, the balance, and the quiet genius that brings coherence and beauty to each folio. As centuries passed, imagine the Book of Kells surviving trials and journeys that might have destroyed lesser works. Viking invasions threatened monasteries, yet the manuscript endured. The care of successive generations ensured that the delicate vellum and vibrant pigments survived to inspire future scholars, artists, and dreamers. The endurance of the book is itself a meditation on patience, care, and the lasting impact of thoughtful creation, a quiet lesson that resonates gently with the observer. Picture opening a page to the Gospel of Matthew, the letters flowing elegantly across the vellum, interspersed with delicate illuminations. Angels hover in the margins, animals peer curiously from tendrils of knotwork, and each symbol seems to vibrate with hidden meaning. As your eyes move across the page, imagine the monk's fingers guiding the quill with steady patience, their minds focused entirely on the task, their hearts attuned to both the spiritual and aesthetic purpose of their labor. Each page becomes a portal, transporting the observer into a world where beauty, devotion, and knowledge converge. Visualize the manuscript's impact on those who encounter it, both in the past and today. Scholars marvel at the technical skill, artists are inspired by the intricate designs, and visitors feel a quiet awe in the presence of something so meticulously created and so enduring. The Book of Kells invites not only intellectual engagement, but also a gentle emotional resonance, a calm awareness of human effort, creativity, and the beauty that can arise from patience and devotion. Now consider the subtle play of light on an open page. gold leaf catches the sun or lamplight, shimmering with a gentle brilliance that seems almost alive. The colors, red, blue, green, and ochre, interact in ways that create depth and movement. Tiny flourishes guide the eye, leading from one design to the next, allowing the observer to enter a meditative rhythm of observation, reflection, and wonder. Each detail draws attention gently, creating a sense of calm curiosity and immersive contemplation. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history's hidden treasures. If you enjoyed uncovering these mysteries, please hit subscribe and like the video. We'd love to know where you're watching from and what time it is there. Until next time, keep exploring and let the secrets of the past inspire your imagination.